Alright, so before I get the game started, let me well, not the game started, before I give my thoughts on the different events and things that are going on in the sports world. Let me just check my audio real quick on the video. Let me see. Check my audio real quick on the video. Alright. Let me see. Check my audio real quick on the video. Alright. Sorry about that for the if you heard the dual duplicate sounds, but I'm gonna start it off with this Bucks Raptors game. The Bucks are on a really, well, I don't want to say good streak, but they're having a really good season right now. And I really want to turn this music up because I don't want to. All right, cool. The Bucks are having a really good season right now. I believe they're either the 1 or 2 seed in the Eastern Conference right now. Let me go ahead and just verify that real quick. I believe I'm right. Go ahead and pull up these stats. Let me see. Yeah, so they're the 1 seed. Toronto's number 2. And they are on a 2-game win streak. They're averaging 117 points. They are 10-7 away from their home, which is not too good. They definitely have to improve on that. But all in all, they're having a pretty good season. One of the best or most underlooked pickups of this season is the Bucks picking up Brook Lopez. He's I've seen highlights of his games to where he had 7 threes and 5 threes and 6 threes, and I never really paid attention to him, if I'm being 100% honest. And just to see him hitting that many threes in a game is definitely big. Tonight he was only 1 for 4 from 3, but he does have the ability to get hot from the center position, and that's big because, look, I understand the importance of a coach. I understand the importance of running plays, but I heard Kevin Durant say this one time, and I completely agree. Is when he said the NBA, for the most part, is just glorified pickup ball, and I pretty much agree with that. Except, they're getting paid to do it. They have a bunch of fans watching the game, and of course they're much better than the average person. Um, so to me, when let me go ahead. I definitely don't want to play right now. Just want to use this to look at while I'm talking. To me, it comes down to, you need to have a great team. In my opinion, you need someone who you need a great offensive player who commands or demands at least a double team. He's dominant. He's virtually almost unstoppable. Has a go-to move, and like I said, you need somebody to double team him. You can't just guard him with one man. With one man on him, he's going to shoot anywhere from 50 to 60%. So you have to send a double team. And the Bucks have that in Giannis. What the Bucks always struggled with is they didn't have enough floor spacing. with Giannis. I don't think Jason Kidd was a bad coach. Maybe coaches are there, for my opinion, to keep the players, in check, keep them organized, to run these different out of bounds sets and run these different, half court sets to try to generate an easy bucket. But once you get in the playoffs and once the team has seen you so many times, um, the defensive team, they know your play. So it's just going to come down to basically you're playing one-on-one ball with your great offensive player, and you need everybody else just to spread the floor. And the Bucks pick up with Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe. They already had Malcolm Brogdon and um, those other guys I just named besides Brook. Um, they just never had good floor spacing, and them doing that this year is the reason why I believe they're so successful. Um, and we're definitely seeing this strategy pay off. Because even if you look back to what LeBron is most effective when it's him as the primary ball handler and you have four shooters around him. If you look at those Miami Heat days, they had Chris Bosh playing stretch five. If you look at um, LeBron when he played with the Cavs last year, they had Kevin Love playing the five. He even with LeBron, you already know it was either drive or kick, um, or LeBron's gonna get the layup, or LeBron's gonna post up. But because he had such good shooters around him, you couldn't double team. And if you did double team, the shooters just had a wide open shot for the most part. Or when he passed it out, because the defense was trying to collapse on, not collapse, because the defense was trying to get back to their the shooter so fast. A lot of times, all the shooter had to do was pump fake and drive right past him, and now you have the defense in scramble mode, and you basically get an open shot one way or another just because you have one great player demanding a double team. Now, if you have two great players demanding a double team, then that's pretty much game over. And along with those great players, you want pretty much a bunch of 3 and D guys. So if you got LeBron, you want at least your shooting guard. Well, I'm not even going to name positions. If you have LeBron playing point guard, you want at least your 3 other positions to be good 3 and D guys who can switch everything, and you want your 5 to be able to shoot it and be a good rebounding defender as well. To me, I think that just makes the game a lot more. It's a lot easier. Now with the Rockets, Clint Capella, he's not a shooter, but he is a good finisher at the rim. James Harden can basically just throw the ball up in the air, and Capella will go get it for the dunk. But sometimes the defense will kind of block Capella from the rim, and it kind of hurts James Harden because Capella is right there. So he doesn't have that extra space to finish at the rim a lot of times, especially when it comes to playoff ball. Um, but just looking at the stats, Giannis had 27 shot, 50%, 21 rebounds, which is just crazy. Um, James Harden took 30 shots, 6 to 16 from 3. That 13, he shot 13 from 30. And if I'm correct, I believe that's 43%. Yep, that's 43%, which isn't bad. It's not good either, but it's still not bad. Considering he's the only option, and he's 6'5", 6'6", and he basically shoots threes the whole game and drives to the rim. You know he's going to do every time. So for him to do that on 43% clip is still pretty good. He has 6 assists. I can guarantee you at least 3 or 4 of those were lobs to Clint Capella. He had 9 turnovers, which is, if he didn't have those, they probably would have won this game. Austin Rivers has been a okay pickup for them. He's not an elite bucket getter, but at times he can get you a bucket. Daniel House, PJ Tucker, they're using them as just 3 and D guys. Clint Capella, finish at your rim, get your rebounds. Gerald Green, he's basically a 3 and no D guy. He tries to put a little bit of D. Brandon Knight, he's okay. It was definitely I watched some of the highlights. It seemed like it was a good game. I didn't have time to watch the game, but I did watch some of the highlights from the full game highlights and the individual highlights as well. So I thought that was very cool. Um, Let me see. Let me check my video one more time just to make sure the audio is good. Let me see. Let me check my video one more time. All right, audio is good. So I saw that Jalen Hurts might be transferring to a different school because this is probably going to be his last year in college. Um, Let me go ahead and pull this up just to verify that I'm giving the right information. Uh, well, it says he entered the transfer portal, which is basically, I guess, what you have to do to before you transfer. He only has one more year of eligibility. He graduated in December, so that's good. Got that degree. Um, to me, Jalen Hurts is not a bad quarterback. Um, he's not a great quarterback either, but we have seen that he does have the ability to lead your team to a uh, playoff championship. He did win, I believe, one with Alabama, and then the next year he got took out, and that's when Tua came and had that big touchdown. And if I'm wrong about that, somebody can correct me. But Tua is definitely the better thrower, but Tua is even pretty athletic. He can run with the ball a little bit if needed. Um, but Jalen Hurts would definitely not be a bad pickup for any of the college teams. I'm not exactly sure if he can, without all of that talent that he has at Alabama, I'm not exactly sure that he can lead a team um, to the championship. But for a team that's struggling to get a good quarterback, it definitely wouldn't hurt to go ahead and give him a shot, given his ability. Um, he's a pretty good short and medium length thrower when it gets deeper down the field, and even at that 10 to 15 yard range, he gets kind of inaccurate. Um, in 2025, he's not very accurate. He's basically just throwing it with all his power, and the receiver has to go get it, which isn't bad, which is basically what a lot of quarterbacks do in today and age. But um, just looking at his stats in 2016 he threw for 2,780 yards. 2017, he threw for 2,081 yards, and on average, yards per attempt, he was averaging about 7 to 7.5 yards, which is okay. Everybody can't be a great quarterback. You're not going to get a bunch of great quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, in college. Basically, what you want is someone who isn't going to turn the ball over too much. And I believe with the experience and playing in big games and being at Alabama definitely helped him. And I think it's a good move for him because if I was Jalen Hurts and I'm in my senior season, I definitely don't want to stay my last year and possibly have to be a backup to Tua again when it's my last year. And even looking at Jalen Hurts' 2017 stats, he threw 60% completion rate, which isn't bad. Well, wait, am I looking at? I think I'm looking at just for one game. Well, no, it's 14 games played, 60% completion rate, um, 2,081 yards, 18.2 yards per attempt, and this is 2017. He threw for 17 touchdowns, one interception, which isn't great, but basically Jalen Hurts is an athletic game manager. He's not gonna necessarily win you a game. He's not gonna, if you're at the 80, if you're at the 20-yard line on the opposite end, where you need to be to get to a touchdown, he's not gonna necessarily drive you down the field against a good to elite defense. But if you put him in a good position, put him around some decent receivers, good offensive line, and a decent defense, he can definitely win you a few games. And I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on him once or if he makes that jump to a different um, college team. I'll definitely be excited to see that. Um, but I wonder what Nick. Well, I'm pretty sure Nick Saban doesn't care because if Jalen Hurts is leaving, this is his last year. He probably at least a few backups already on their way with the recruiting, so that shouldn't really hurt them too much. Um, I also saw that Luka uh, Doncic. Hope I'm saying it. I know it's Doncic. I hear everybody say Doncic. I've been watching him a lot. Um, to me, the thing that's so surprising about him to me is he's so slow. At least when I watch him, to me he's so slow. But his ability to get buckets is just it's crazy for someone with his speed. He's not super quick. He's not athletic at all. Which he can dunk, but he's 6'7". He has average athleticism, but for NBA standards, his athleticism isn't that good at all. And but he can shoot. Um, as far as his defense, I haven't really been watching full games of him, but I do watch the stats every now and then, and I am a big fan of effective defensive field goal percentage. So I will check that out real quick. But I have watched his highlights a lot. And that step back is lethal. What he does is he's I've never seen someone so good at being slow. He'll take a hard dribble just to get you moving in one direction. Then he'll hurry up and cross back between the legs and get it back going the other way. And he's just he's a handful for some teams, especially him being 6'7", 6'8". Go ahead and looking at the stats, he had 30 points, but he did have 16 free throws in which he made 10 of those. So take away those 10 free throws, he only has 20 points, which isn't bad. But if he makes all 16, then he has 36 points. But he was 4 for 9 from 3 and 8 for 14 from the field, which is very efficient. Rick Carlisle is a good coach, so obviously Luka is going to be the building block for this team. But I don't know if Luka is the guy who can necessarily carry your team to be a championship contender. He is 6'8", and with him being 6'8", that is it is to his advantage. But at the same time, with him being 6'8" and him being that slow, when you put him up against the elite defenders and in the playoffs, when everyone knows your plays and it's basically one-on-one basketball a lot of the times and fast breaks and defense, I do and have seen him struggle when he plays against pretty good defenders because he is so slow. And with him being 6'8", you can basically just throw another 6'8" defender on him, and then with the defender being more athletic than him, those step back threes, which are always contested and he somehow makes, I don't see him making those in the playoffs. So while Luka he definitely is a good pickup for the Mavericks, I don't see him being a franchise changer for them. Now, will he lead them to the playoffs throughout his career? Yes. Will he get them to the semifinals and maybe even a couple years with some great talent around them, get them to the conference finals once or twice? Yes. But I don't see him carrying a team to the finals just because he's good, but he's not superstar, franchise changer to me. So they're definitely going to have to put some more pieces around him. To me, there's players who can carry your team. There's not many players who can carry your team to the conference finals or finals. We know LeBron can do it. LeBron has done it 8-9 years straight. We know with elite role players, Steph Curry has done it. Besides in my opinion, Kevin Durant, if you surround him around elite talent, I know he went to Golden State, but even if he had a different point guard, because to me Westbrook is just I'm not saying he's a bad point guard, he's just a bad decision maker and he can't shoot. To me, he's a smaller wannabe LeBron who can't shoot, and he's not as strong as LeBron. So drives, a lot of time he try to make to the rim. They're not very efficient come playoff time when you're playing against good teams. Against the bad teams, those are going to go. Against a bad defender, he's going to get his points. But we've seen that come playoff time, when the moments are when it's those clutch moments, because he can't shoot, teams tend to sag off him and just go straight up when they're contesting his shots at the rim, and they don't fall. Now, has Westbrook made it to the finals? Yes. Has he made it to the conference finals, semifinals with Kevin Durant? Yes. But as we've seen, since Durant has left, he hasn't gotten past the first round. And even with Paul George, they lost to Utah with a rookie. Um, and I wouldn't necessarily say that was all because of Westbrook, but Westbrook did play a factor in that, even though he had a big game, led a big comeback. But Westbrook can't shoot, and he's a bad decision maker, which um, I wouldn't put him on that franchise changing player. To me, the franchise changing players right now would be LeBron, Durant, Stephen Curry, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, and I want to say Anthony Davis so bad, but Anthony Davis, to me, he's not aggressive enough. He does, and a lot of times, I don't really, well, not a lot of times, watching him play, I don't see him as a go-to scorer. To me, Anthony Davis on a championship team, he's the second best player. I don't see him calling for the ball. I don't see him demanding the ball. I don't see him telling everybody, get out my way and give me the ball, let me get a shot. And I don't like that. And a lot of times when I see the analysts on ESPN talking about he's a best player or a second best player, that's impossible. If you're not leading your team to at least the second round or conference finals, then you can't be in the running for best player. Um, James Harden is definitely, he's on the verge of being one of those franchise players in my opinion. But with them signing Chris Paul to that big contract, that's definitely going to hurt the Houston Rockets, because you're paying a 6 foot point guard. Although he is very good, and if Chris Paul was healthy, they might have won that series against the Warriors last year. Um, but he's only 6 feet tall, if that. He's at the back end of his career, getting 40 million, and right now he's out with a bad hamstring. So the Rockets are definitely in trouble, and I think that was definitely a bad move for the Houston Rockets. Um, they if they wouldn't have signed him, it would have been interesting to see what they could have did in this Jimmy Butler sweepstake. If they would have had some pieces um, to try to pick up Jimmy Butler, but because they had Chris Paul, there was nothing they could really do. And Jimmy Butler, um, I wouldn't say he's as good of a playmaker as Chris Paul, but as far as everything else, he's pretty close, and he's also bigger and a better defender. Not saying Chris Paul is bad, but because Jimmy is bigger and more athletic, he's definitely going to, in my opinion, a better defender than Chris Paul. Um, I know I'm all over the place. That's kind of how I like it. I don't want to stick on one topic for too long. I'm just trying to see if there's anything that I missed out on as far as in this wonderful sports day. I love sports so much. Just trying to see if I missed out on anything. The Lakers and the Pistons are playing right now. Lakers are up. Going to be interesting to see if they hold on to this lead. Patrick McCaw is planning to sign with the Raptors. I guess that's an okay pickup. He's an okay shooter. He's long, tall and long, so he could be a pretty good defender when he wants to be. So that could be a okay pickup for them. I'm still. Let me go ahead and check these standings real quick for the Lakers, because I believe I talked about this on a different video. And if I'm correct, I believe the Lakers were an 8 seed. They're actually the 8 seed. And when LeBron was there before the injury, they were the 4th seed. Now with them being an 8 seed, they're only back 2 to 3 games from that fourth and third seed. And I could definitely see LeBron. Of course, when he gets back, he's gonna get them up to a higher seed. But this Lakers team for LeBron is not better than that Cavaliers team he played on last year. LeBron James is not a system player. LeBron James is a ISO player. LeBron James needs shooters around him so he can get to the rim and kick the ball out or finish at the rim. LeBron doesn't like to play in the system, and to an extent, I'm not too. I can't really just be mad with him about that, because if it's working, why change it? A lot of the times, when LeBron has lost, he has played against a better team. Um, but in those Miami Heat days, he lost to the Mavericks, which is unexcusable. But those other 2 championships against the Spurs, D Wade was kind of on the back end of his athleticism. He was on the back end of his prime, so he didn't really have in the finals that second star. When KD came to the Warriors, that was just a better team. If you say Kyrie is just as good as Steph, if you say LeBron just as good as Durant, besides those matchups, every other place the Warriors had them beat. Um, um, but as far as getting a team, to the finals, or being able to get this Lakers team to the playoffs, LeBron playing at this threes and layups and drive to the rim style that he likes to play. He can definitely get them there, but without another superstar, I don't see them making it very far. That Cavaliers team that he went to the finals with last year, that was a perfect team for him, because, like I said, they had a bunch of shooters, and this Lakers team doesn't have much of that. But what I would like to see is their team. If it'll show, I really would like to see their team 3-point shooting percentage. Let me see. I might have to go to a different website. Let me see. I really want to see their team 3-point shooting percentage. Let me see. Alright, so I think I got it. As a team, the Lakers are shooting. Let me make sure this is the 2019 season. Alright. As a team, the Lakers are shooting 34% from 3, which isn't bad, but it definitely need to improve that. Let's say if I look at a team like, even the Bucks are only shooting 34% from 3, so but we round that 0.8, that's 35% from 3. So that's actually not too bad. So I guess I'm trying to make an excuse for LeBron, but there's really no need to make an excuse. So disregard that comment that I was saying about the Lakers being a bad 3-point shooting team, because while they're not the best, I'm looking at some of the elite teams in the NBA right now, like the Bucks. They're shooting 34 or 35% from 3. The Celtics are shooting 37%. The Nuggets are shooting 35%. The Warriors are shooting 38%. Well, they have the best shooters in the NBA right now, so I'm going to take them out. The Raptors are shooting 34%. Um, Rockets are shooting 35%. So the Lakers are right there in the mix at 34%. So, and this is on pretty much the same attempts the other teams are making. The Bucks are shooting about 40 threes per game. Lakers are shooting 31 threes per game, which is quite a bit less. Celtics are shooting 36 threes. Nuggets are shooting 30 threes. Warriors are shooting 32 threes. Raptors are shooting 33. So the Lakers are right there in the mix as far as 3-point percentage. So I'll take that away, saying that they are a good shooting team. They're okay. They're not bad. They're about league average, or probably a bit above league average, just based on the stats. They're right there in the mix with the elite teams besides the Warriors. Um, I can't remember if I talked about this or not. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But Demarcus Cousins is returning to the Warriors. Let me go ahead and check my audio one more time. Just want to make sure that I'm not putting any audio that doesn't need to be on here. Let me check this one more time. I guess it's. Let me see. Is my audio still? Let me wind it back. Score. To me, Anthony Davis. All right, so yeah, audio is good. DeMarcus Cousins is returning, which is good for the Warriors offensively, but defensively, I think this can definitely be a big um, problem for them. DeMarcus Cousins, I guess he can be a rim protector because he's basically 7 feet tall, maybe a few inches shorter than that. He is an okay 3-point shooter. Let me go ahead and pull up that stat for the exact numbers. But he isn't very good at moving his feet in space. And like I was saying, the game has become you have 5 shooters on the floor, and it's spread it out. Let's put the ball in one of our or our best or second best ISO scorer on the team. Let him beat his man, and let him get to the rim or kick it out for easy three for the um, for one of the shooters spreading the floor. And I can definitely see DeMarcus Cousins getting picked on come playoff time because his lack of ability to be able to defend in space is definitely going to hurt him and the Warriors. And with Draymond Green not being a good shooter, um, they're definitely gonna struggle. I saw the game against DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins in 48 games against the Pelicans last year, he shot 35% from three, which is not bad for a big man. But I believe it was that game against I know it was the game against the Lakers. They were sagging off of Draymond and Iguodala. Basically, they were not guarding anyone from three except Klay Thompson, Durant, and Stephen Curry. Now when DeMarcus comes back, he's definitely going to give them a post um, presence that they have never had, which is going to, I believe he's going to demand a double team if he comes back healthy, and that's going to open up easy shots for Durant and Steph and Klay. But I can see teams still sagging off of Draymond to go double team DeMarcus and basically just telling Draymond, hey, you have to beat us. And I think that would be a very effective strategy and probably the only strategy to beat the Warriors. You have to let Draymond make all the decisions and just live with the results. Because if you try to sag off Durant or Klay or Steph, they're going to make their shots. If you try to leave DeMarcus being one-on-one coverage, that's not going to work at all. So I'm definitely excited to see the return of Demarcus. I hope he's healthy, just because it's going to make for an exciting rest of the season. Seeing seeing how dominant they'll be on offense, and I'm definitely interested in seeing how teams will pick on him on defense in the regular season and on and in the playoffs. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Um, there was a lot going on the past few days in sports, and I'll see you guys either tomorrow, or if there's nothing going on tomorrow, I'll see you guys in a couple days.